Okay, so moving forward, I'd like to introduce you to our second speaker. We have today Dato Amin Rafie Othman, who is the Group Finance Advisor. So he has a joint honors degree in Economics and International Politics from UCW Aberystwyth and an MBA in International Business. So in a career spanning over 30 years in fund management, Dato Amin has served in senior positions with RHB Bank, Maybank, Merrill Lynch, and Dubai Investment Group, and also Halim Masmin Group. So he was a past president of the Malaysian Associate of Asset Managers and a member of the listing committee of Bursa Malaysia. So he has managed both public and private equity assets in excess of 10 billion ringgit, both domestic and international. So with his experiences, join him as he take you on a journey in exploring the world of fund management and the career opportunities it brings you. So before we begin, I just like to remind everyone to have your microphone on mute throughout the talk. And also I've been sharing the contact info link in the chat. So if you just came in, don't forget to fill in the form. Okay. So at the end of the presentation, Dato Amin will entertain your questions. So I pass the floor to Dato Amin.
Thank you, Syaira. Yang Besar Cik Azwan, penuntut-penuntut KPM Melaka. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity today to briefly present to you the investment management or the fund management industry in Malaysia. When we talk about fund management or investment management industry, sometimes you only think about managing funds, but actually it's a lot more. Banyak peluang, and it's a big ecosystem. So I can go to my next slide. Next one. Okay. What makes up the fund management industry in Malaysia? Essentially, the ecosystem has different sectors. The biggest sector is obviously the pension funds. Ini macam EPF, KWAP, LTAT. And these are pension funds that manage money for us for when we retire. Then there are also fund management companies that these are all licensed by the Securities Commission of Malaysia. Currently, there are about 80 companies that are licensed, and it's a very regulated industry. Susah nak masuk, and it is well governed, and inshallah it will continue to be well governed. We have the next sector is the unit trust companies. I think you're probably more aware of unit trust companies. Unit trust companies were set up to allow individual investors to invest smaller amounts of money. Kalau macam di fund management company tu, mungkin the minimum that you need to have is maybe $500,000 or $1 million ringgit. Tetapi for unit trust companies, you can buy a unit trust up to a value of 1,000 ringgit and still have the benefit of an investment in a particular sector, company, stock market, apa-apa. Then you have insurance companies. Insurance companies are not really direct participants of the fund management industry, but because of the amount of money that they manage, which is into the billions, they hire a lot of people to undertake this fund management component. So it's a vital component as well. And lastly, and which I think is the newest component of the fund management industry in Malaysia, but obviously not overseas, is private equity. I think recently you've heard the Minister of Finance have come up with new initiatives to say that, look, we've funded $1 billion ringgit or $1 billion with so that matching funds for private equity we can come in under the Penjaja scheme. Private equity is essentially investments in equity in companies which have not yet listed on a bursa or on a stock market. So, say for example, a glove company like Top Glove. Prior to it becoming a public company and now worth billions on the stock market, it had private equity money invested. So sebelum dia disenaraikan di atas Bursa Malaysia, they had private investors. So this is a major component of the business now, that people have the opportunity to invest in companies that have the possibility of going public and then making you a higher return. So these are basic components. There are a lot more, but I think these are the main ones that you should be looking at. What is the size of the industry? This is, in this age where businesses, at least sectors, are affected by COVID, I think this is one of the few industries that will still see growth going ahead. Currently, the size of the fund management industry or investment management industry in Malaysia, this is recorded, not yang simpan bawah tilam ni lah, tapi yang recorded is about 2.04 trillion ringgit. That's a lot of zeros. And this is split into private and public companies. Private companies are the licensed fund management companies, and we include PNB. It's not RMB, it's PNB. So that segment is 800 over billion ringgit. PNB accounts for 312 billion. So a lot of our money, I'm sure you and your parents put under labor di PNB and have got very good returns these last 30 years. And this is due to the work of the fund managers, the work of the research analysts, the work of everybody within PNB, and that's part of the fund management. And growing within the fund management industry is investments in Islamic or Sharia compliant products. Currently, it accounts for, in 2019, it accounts for 22% of 800 billion. So, and that is growing. Sharia compliant means you do not invest in riba, we do not invest in banks, or do invest in companies that, brewery companies or the like. Yeah. Okay. The biggest component of the fund management industry in Malaysia is the public or government component, and the largest is EPF. EPF in 2019 managed 998 billion ringgit. Today, from what my understanding is over a trillion ringgit already. The second is KWAP, is kumpulan wang amanah pension for the government officers, and Khazanah is 73 billion. Khazanah is our, as you know, our national wealth fund. So, and the rest is all smaller ones like LTAT and the like. So, what I'm trying to impress upon you is that it's a very large industry. Last year, the private sector funds grew by 10% when the whole world was in recession. We were negative in terms of our GDP growth, but funds under management size grew 10%. So if you're looking for a sector to work in, to make a career of, this is a long-term growth sector, right? One is just that sometimes you don't see the whole, what opportunities there are within the sector, and you think, oh, only fund management. Tidak, it's the whole gamut. So the next slide will show you the opportunities in careers investment management. I've split it up into three main areas, which is the front office, middle office, and back office. And for those of you who are now going to graduate in diplomas in accounting and the like, you can enter actually in any of these jobs. So the first part is the front office. Front office now, dulu fund managers used to do everything. They used to manage money, talk to the clients, do up the portfolio. Because of the sheer size of our funds under management, we really have to separate the duties of all the departments within these companies. So in the front office, we have the business development officers who go out and get funds for the company. They will go and market, they will go and seek funds from high net worths, from companies, from everybody. Then they will pass it on to the relationship managers, who will then be given an account. So each company, say, when I was managing Tabung Haji, for example, so I was the relationship manager for Tabung Haji. At that time, I also managed the funds for Tabung Haji, but now these funds will be separated and given to individual managers. But at the end of each quarter or the end of each month, I will have to go menghadap the investment managers in Tabung Haji, or the CEO or the board, to inform them of the performance of their portfolio. For that, I depend on the fund managers in terms of the performance and in terms of the background of the back office in terms of the portfolio reporting and everything else to be accurate and to be true. So that's the front office. So there are others in the front office, but those are the two main ones. Then you have the middle office, which are essentially fund managers and research analysts. Fund managers are the portfolio managers who actually manage the funds. They manage the funds given a parameter. So when you are a client, so imagine the other day you are a client and you give somebody $1 million and say, look, I want it to be managed this way. I want only growth companies. I don't want this. I want IT companies only, or I only want Sharia compliant companies. So the fund manager will then manage that fund, your fund, within the parameters set by you, kalau ada. Sometimes people say, no, I'm just giving you $1 million, do what you want, I just want a good return. So that's what we call a fully discretionary fund manager. So that's what you can do. To support the fund manager, you have research analysts, and this some people like because it goes into a career where you go into looking at companies, different companies every time, different sectors. So it's a lot more interesting than maybe just managing money. But we rely, as fund managers, we rely on the research analysts to feed us the information for us to have the basis to make the decisions to invest. We as fund managers don't invest on, apa rasa hati ke, what we is a hunch. No, it's all properly researched, properly analyzed, and at the same time, of course, there will be some gut feeling, but by and large, it's factual. Lastly, we have the back office, which is compliance. Now, as I said, the industry is very regulated. All of us have to have compliance officers, which report to the SC as well as to the clients. The accounts obviously have to be in good order, and one of the most important departments is portfolio reporting, where any activity within the portfolio is reported to the client at the end of the quarter of the month. And this includes how much money he makes, what is sold, what is bought, how much interest or profit he gets from his investments. All of that will be in the portfolio report, and that is generated by the portfolio reporting department. So as newly graduated students, you have a choice of where you want to go in. If you feel that you are outgoing, you want to meet people all the time, you like pressing palms, getting business, then go to the front office. But if you say, look, I really like about how to invest, how to manage, or how to look at investment management as a career, then middle office may suit you. But some people, look, I don't want, I'm happy being an accountant, I'm happy looking at, I'm happy being a support person within the organization doing portfolio reporting or compliance accounts, then you have that as well. So the industry is wide, this is just a small part of it. So please consider this industry when you making your decisions. The world is your oyster, but you still have to pick the right oyster at the end of the day. Okay. So what all of you will be having now degrees in accounting or business, diplomas. Unfortunately, in a world where there are many people with degrees and many people with diplomas, the person with the degree will have the first bite of the cherry, in the sense that if you have a degree, when I was managing fund management companies and when I had to hire people, and not just for fund managers, but for the whole group, my first screen is I always take degree holders first. And that's an unfortunate, it's not fair, but that's how it is. We always look at degree holders first, and this is a fact. So then after that, you come your diploma holders. But before that, if you have a master's, I will look at that first, and then we will go through. The key is to getting your foot in the door, getting the all-important interview. And if you don't have either a very good grade point average or a degree, then you're not going to do that. But so a degree is important. It's not all important, but it will give you that edge against, say, a diploma holder.
Maybe a tambah there.
Yeah. Okay. So basically that's it. And at Meritus, we have degree programs that are tailored to investment management and finance, which can assist you in giving you this added edge when you are looking for a job in this industry. So I think I'll stop there. If you have any questions, you can ask me later. I think Tan Sri wants to have a quick word with you regarding the courses that we offer.
Agak tertinggal tadi. I just want to emphasize and continue a bit more to what Dato Amin has left. Why students should consider seriously to study at Meritus. Dato Amin has expressed and articulate how important that we should not just stop at diploma level. And I agree with him. Today, having a diploma is not good enough. We must continue to move on, at least to get our first degree, if not later on to do master's or a doctorate, because it's so competitive out there. Yeah, every university everywhere is producing accountancy student, everyone is producing finance. So the world is getting smaller, job competition is getting great. So what shall we tell ourselves? What can I do to ensure that when I graduate, I'm going to get a good job, a good pay, so that I can pay my loan, I can support my mom and dad who put me in school. That's very important. So I want to emphasize why Meritus is so special that students must consider. Call Dato Amin, call Shaira, because I developed this program. I hope I can put it very close to you. This is a very tailor-made Bachelor of Finance and honors degree in investment strategy. Yeah. So the program is listed on our website, but this is one of the things that you can consider. It's very important because here we are different. We call investment strategy. Okay, investment strategy, when the employer take a look that you have this degree, that means the student have been trained. Kita telah dilatih untuk buat satu strategi dalam investment. Macam EPF, ada strategi dia. Sebab apa? EPF, pemodalan nasional berhad, di mana duit kita dilabur dalam amanah saham. Ya? Amanah saham tu kena ada investment strategy. Dia ambil duit kita, dia laburkan di syarikat-syarikat. So, dia akan ada strategi dia. So, di sinilah setahu saya, Meritus hanyalah sebuah universiti yang boleh yang telah mengofferkan kos ni ya untuk student mengambil jurusan ini. Sebab saya rata dunia saya telah pergi di Singapura, Hong Kong, financial centers, di sinilah yang perlu. Dan lepas itu, student boleh. Once nak study lagi, kita ada master's program. Masters of Science in Wealth Management. Ya? So, boleh nampak tak ni? So, master's program in Wealth Management. So, kita nak student, oh sorry ya. Ya? Ya. Master's program in Wealth Management. Pengurusan harta. Ya? So, this is the thing. Pengurusan harta adalah, setahu saya, mereka saja yang dapat kelulusan dari MQA untuk menjalan program ni. Untuk masters. Hanya saya tahu. Lepas kita ambil degree, kita buat setahun lagi. InsyaAllah, kalau kita ada kelulusan ni, Masters of Science in Wealth Management, pengurusan harta. Boleh kerja-kerja dengan bank boleh, kita kerja dengan PMB, EPF, KUAP, dan mana-mana syarikat pelaburan besar. All companies must have an investment officer. Sebab dia nak tahu di mana duit lebih. Our extra money in the bank, where shall we invest that money? The same thing tu, kalau kita ada duit lebih, di mana kita nak buat pelaburan yang terbaik? Taruh di tabung haji ke? Taruh dalam fixed deposit ke? Taruhkan PNB. Tapi bila syarikat, it become more complex. Sebab the company has millions, hundreds and millions of dollars. So, the investment strategy will advise the board where to properly invest the money. Okay? So, I will stop there. I thought that would be something very interesting for Cik Karo suatu sematkan dalam student kita bahawa kita tak nak jadi accountant biasa saja. Kita nak move forward, ya. Ya. Terima kasih, Cik Sarah. Ya. Ada soalan tadi?
Okay, thank you so much, Tan Sri, and also Dato Amin. Thank you, Dato Amin, for such an insightful presentation. I think you really explained well about the ecosystem of the investment industry, and I don't think that not many people know about it and how expensive it can be, because it's such a big ecosystem. So I think there are definitely places suitable for each one of you, either in the front, middle, or the back. So it's so big that even you tak minat to meet people, but you can still go within that line. And also thank you to Tan Sri for really pinpointing the importance of having a degree. It really sets yourself aside from other degree holders when you have a niche degree, like a degree that not many people have. So it's really something important that you should look at when you want to further your studies. Okay, so thank you Tan Sri. Before that, kalau ada apa-apa soalan, please let me know. You can put it in the chat. I see that there was one question from Alia. Your question will be answered later by our Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor Dato Ain.